Castiel, angel of the Lord. Can he be trusted? Castiel came out in season 4. At the time, he was still working for Heaven. He had no connection with the Winchesters at that point. He was told to raise demons from hell, and he did. Just following orders. That's what he did at the time. Or at least, that's what he thought he did. As time went on, he formed a bond with the Winchesters and started questioning. And just questioning in general. He started to ask questions. At least, he thought he did. So, he started not doing exactly what was expected of him. He started asking questions, but this time he started to answer them, and he started to take his answers seriously. Instead of letting someone else do all the asking, do all the answering, do all the decision making, he started to ask, to answer, and to follow what he thought was best. Now that's when he became, a moral being. Not just, some piece of machinery. Now, later on you come to know him a bit more, and you find out about Naomi and the intelligence division of the angels. Turns out, Castiel didn't just start to ask questions. He's asked them before. He started thinking before. But at that point, he was still just basically a machine, and he was treated like one, and he acted like one. He was like a machine, and when he started asking these questions and not really liking what was going on up in heaven and how they were treating people down on earth, he became a broken piece of machinery, and they fixed him. But now with the Winchesters, now he's not a machine anymore. He's not a piece of it. He started working against heaven, and he started to be his own being. He started making his own decisions. When a person starts making their own decisions, they start making mistakes. The problem is his mistakes weren't like human mistakes. I guess when an angel makes mistakes, they're much bigger mistakes. And they hurt a lot more people. He didn't just say something mean. He didn't just hurt someone. He committed genocide. and it's not okay. Castiel made some very bad mistakes, and he put his trust in the wrong people at times. Metatron. He did the wrong thing. Stop looking at me. He did some very bad things. And then he felt bad for it. Why did he make those mistakes? Well, he didn't know any better. He wasn't used to being a moral being. He was used to just following orders, being an angel, not like a person. People make decisions. People make choices. Angels don't. And that's why he made some very bad mistakes. Because it's not just that everyone makes mistakes, it's that he never had the chance to learn before how to make decisions. So he made the wrong ones. He didn't know how. He was trying to fix a problem, and the problem was in heaven, and he rebelled against them. To fix a problem, he did the wrong thing. He was trying to help. His intentions were good, but he did not know how, and he eventually got power crazy. And he learned from that. But doesn't mean it was excused. You can learn a bit about Cass from the mistakes he made. And one of his flaws is, the same flaws that the Winchesters had. They have very close relationships, the Winchesters, Sam and Dean. And what they do is they hide things from one another. Cass comes in, he starts hiding things from them, lying to them, deceiving them. He knows it wouldn't be okay with what he was doing. And so he hid it from them, and that's what Sam and Dean do. They hide things from each other when they know the other one wouldn't want it, wouldn't agree with them, wouldn't back them up on what it is they're doing. So they don't consult each other sometimes, and they make mistakes. And they know they're doing something that the other one wouldn't like, and they go ahead and do it anyway. That's what they think is best. And I guess that's something you can learn from it. Yeah, you should think about what you're doing. You should also ask what other people think. Although you need to keep in mind that other people could be wrong. But especially if you're not used to making your own decisions, it's good to ask for advice. It's not good to just follow advice blindly, of course, but when you are new to something, it's okay it's good to ask and listen, and then, not just follow, but take it into consideration. Hear them out, because they might have thought of something you didn't. Maybe, if Cass had asked Sam and Dean, they could have, explained to him why it would have been wrong to do what he did. To try to just be a god, and try to take over, and he didn't have the best of intentions. If someone's going to try to come into power, they're going to have good intentions. And I know most people do, but the way they want to get to those good intentions is by doing bad things, and they know it's bad. That's not the way to do it. It's not. That's how genocide happens. They want something. Someone wants some, good ending, and the means are genocide. It's not good. Getting rid of people who disagree with you isn't a solution. When there's a problem, it's not the people that's the problem. You have to get rid of them. Genocide isn't that really the answer, and I think Castiel learned that lesson. And he probably also learned a lesson about how you're not supposed to betray your friends. He did betray Sam and Dean, and I think he learned from it. I just watched up to season 10. Season 11 is coming out next month. For me right now, it's the 25th of September for me, and for you it's probably another day. And we'll get to see more of Cass in season 11. We'll get to learn more about him, hopefully. Sometimes bad things happen to him, and we don't get to see much of what he's like because as you know from the ending of season 10, never mind. I'm not going to give spoilers for season 10, especially the ending. I mean, if anyone does, basically what happens is we don't always get to know Cass as much as we'd like. We get to see him. We get to see him and enjoy his presence in the show. We don't get to know him very well. He's off, fighting with, he has business in heaven. He's off doing stuff. He isn't well. He's going through something big in his life. That's, he's learning. So we don't get to see what he's usually like, because we don't have a usual Castiel. He's going through some major changes after, rebelling from heaven. After the Civil War in heaven, everything's changed up there. He doesn't really have much of a usual, and I know the characters often change a lot. There's a lot of character development, and huge things are always happening, with the apocalypse, all that sort of stuff. And the characters are always learning. And so even Sam and Dean, who we've known since they were little, they still go through stuff, and they're still changing. But we at least get to see, the personalities, what they're like, what their values are, what motivates them. And with Cass, we don't get to see that much. And here's the thing. In Supernatural, there's something the main characters are fighting. Sam and Dean are fighting something. They're fighting demons. They're fighting angels, vampires, ghosts. That's the whole point of. That's what the stories that's supernatural. That's what it is. Sam and Dean fighting shit. And so, Cass comes into the mix with all these powers. We've known there's beings more powerful than Sam and Dean. We know there's really powerful beings from the start. We knew demons were really powerful. And then angels come along and they're even more powerful. Cass comes along. And then we get even more angels. And of course, they can't be good because, if there's all these powerful beings out there and they're good, then how could Supernatural be a show? They're fighting monsters all the time. If there's like this army of good beings that are so powerful, there wouldn't be that much for Sam and Dean to do. There wouldn't be that much of a plot. So, the angels aren't good for the most part, or they're indifferent, or they're just minding their own business, doing their own thing. They're not, fighting with Sam and Dean, except for Cass. And even then, when it's just Cass, he's still too powerful for the show. He's so they have to send him off. The writers have to find something for him to do while Sam and Dean take care of stuff in an interesting way. Where if Cass were there, there wouldn't be much of a plot to a lot of episodes. So Cass has to go. Cass can't be around very much. And if he is, there has to be something wrong with him. He took on Sam's, Lucifer illness, and he was going around naked and following bees. He was off fighting a civil war in heaven. He was pretty much human because he lost his powers. He lost his wings. He can't fly around. Cass is always away, or there's something happening to him where he's not completely himself, or he's used to being. That's why we don't really get to see that much of Cass. We might get Misha Collins as Castiel on the show, but we don't really get to see who he really is. We get bits and pieces, and you try to figure out who this being is. And you don't have much to go on because, a lot of the times he just isn't himself. He's weakened somehow. Or he's either weakened somehow or he's just not there as much. And, that makes it really hard to tell, who is Cass? Who is Cass? So, he's inexperienced in making decisions for himself. He's a friend. He's not a bad guy. He's with Sam and Dean. Yes, he betrayed them. Yes, he's lied to them. Sam and Dean lied to each other, and neither of them are a monster. Cass is a good guy, like the rest of the good guys on the show. There is lying, there is going behind each other's back and doing stuff. The other one, he's like Sam and Dean in that way. But I'd like to get to know him more. But to get to know him, there has to be something really bad out there. Where, if Cass is Cass, he's not, there's nothing wrong with him at the moment. He's just, an angel with his powers, with Which means if we have Cass there at 100%, giving it his all, working with Sam and Dean, there's going to have to be something really bad going on in Sam and Dean's lives. Something really bad. So the darkness, we know that's coming. I don't want to give any spoilers, but I think anyone I think we all know that season 11 is going to be about the darkness. I'm not really giving much away about season 10. The darkness, there's speculation on what that will be, or who, but I'm not going to talk about that, because I know some people don't want to get into it, because you have to take what you learned from season 10, what you learned from the season 11 promos, and I'm not going to do that right now, because I know my buddies wouldn't like that. My buddies who also watch Supernatural. They don't want any spoilers, so I'm not going to get into that. So, but we do know that the darkness, the darkness is this big thing that's going to happen. That Sam and Dean are going to have to fight. And maybe that'll be big enough for us to get Cass. Now, I'd say more about that, but I can't. So, no spoilers for season 10. But I do hope at some point in season 11 we do get to know Cass a bit more. See him with his full powers and how that'll work. Because I know, maybe they didn't think it through at first when they brought in Cass. I know he wasn't meant to be in the show for very much. And, he was popular, so they kept him. They can't get rid of him now. I don't want them to get rid of him. I love Castiel. However, I do acknowledge that he causes a problem for the writers, because he's just too damn powerful. Sam and Dean are humans. They fight with knives, guns. And they fight like ghosts and vampires and stuff. If you have Cass who can go around, smiting things, I'm gonna touch you with my 2 fingers. Now you're dead. Now you have unconscious. Now you're zapped into like the 1940s or whatever. He does that, and what's left for Sam and Dean? What's left for the plot? How are they fighting these monsters now? If it's that easy, they can't make it that easy to show them. They need to have a plot. So that's how the character of Castiel is a problem, and I'm acknowledging that, even though I definitely do like Cass. I'm not going to try to tell the people who create Supernatural and who make Supernatural. I'm not going to try to tell them what to do. I'm not. It's up to them. And I am just happy to see what they're going to write next, what they're going to make next, what they're going to do about the situation. So, whatever it is they're going to do, I'm interested in finding that out. I know Cass is popular, I love him, and I would love it if he stayed on the show, and I think he's going to. I don't think anyone wants to get rid of. I don't think anyone who's creating it really thinks it's a good idea to get rid of Cass or Misha Collins. And I don't think a lot of fans would like that either. If it happened, I'd still watch the show. So, whatever it is they're gonna do, I'm fine with it. I'm a huge Misha Collins fan, by the way. I love Misha Collins. I think he's a good role model. You can learn from him, and he inspires people. And I did Gishwiz. I'm not. Yeah, I did Gishwiz. That was great. Misha's great. I'm not here to talk about Gishwiz. I'm not here to talk about Misha Collins. I'm here to talk about Castiel, the character. We all know he's a good guy. He's not meant to be the antagonist or anything. Yes, he's done bad things. Yes, he's worked against 17. 17 have worked against each other. Neither of them are ever meant to be the antagonist. Same with Cass. He's done some pretty bad stuff. He's not an antagonist. He's a flawed being. Just like Sam and Dean. They're not perfect. Neither is Cass. He's definitely not an antagonist. And we know that, but he's still so flawed. Him as like his choices he makes, his decisions he makes, the thoughts he has, very flawed. Also flawed as, a character on the show, given that he's too powerful for, the plot lines, and the story arcs and all that. But, nothing we can do about it now. The writers are working around that now, for sure. So that's just, another thing they're gonna have to do. But Cass as, as a person, who he is on the show. He's a good guy, but he's just so flawed. All the things he's done. It's just hard to accept him as a friend after he does stuff like the freaking genocide. Who does that? Even Crowley has the common decency to wait 10 years before taking the life of someone after getting their permission, after making a deal. He doesn't, go around just smiting people. Cass did, though. He acted worse than a demon. It also brings into question stuff about, morality, angels versus demons, and, good and bad. It's not the angels who are good, it's not the demons who are bad. They both have done good, they both have done bad. And if you want to get into, the morality of, Lucifer and the actual myths, the original stories, and that's where, that Satanism goes into that. Religions or ideas of Satanism, they get into the actual morality of those stories, the biblical stories, instead of, twisting them to make one side be good and one side bad, instead of taking their actions, whether they're good or bad, and interpreting them to be all good and all bad. Sometimes you have to see the other side, instead of seeing Lucifer as bad, just interpret his actions as a character. And I think Supernatural goes into that, seeing Lucifer as not just, symbolizing evil, but as a character, as a person, Cass, as a character. He's an angel. He was with heaven. He wasn't good. He wasn't all good. And he fell from heaven. He wasn't all bad. I think that's, important, especially nowadays. People actually following these religions, and you can't follow one thing. What would happen if you followed everything one character did? If you worshipped one character, just agreed with everything they thought was right, you'd turn out to be pretty terrible, honestly. If you just followed Sam or Dean, you could get away with being, I guess, okay, for the most part. In a world where it's angels and demons now, since we don't actually live in that world, you wouldn't be killing anyone. Sam and Dean often kill. Not always, everyone is flawed, but sometimes they kill people who are innocent. Not completely innocent, everyone's done something wrong. But they'll kill someone who wouldn't be defined as a monster, they're not going out and killing people. And Sam and Dean come up to them and kill them anyway. If you decided to follow an angel, what would happen then? Following someone like Cass, he ends up committing genocide and murdering a bunch of angels just for being on the wrong side of the war. Now, that's not good at all. He's done some very good things too, but he's done some bad. And if you look at Lucifer, he had some points. He had some good points. Lucifer is definitely an antagonist in the show. But he wasn't always, just trying to be evil. And God, what has he done? In creating the angels and letting them all free and creating the humans. All in the show, of course. Of course, if God did create these beings, angels and the humans, and he's not really good either with how he the things he hasn't done too. Clearly the character of God is not all good or all evil. And then Lucifer. Now, given that God created the angels, and you're comparing Lucifer to God, and then you compare their creation. Now, God made the angels, and Lucifer made the demons. And it turns out the angels are often less moral than the demons. The demons have a lot of order. And they don't go around just trying to be evil. They're trying to build their, create more, bring more souls to hell. But they follow the rules. They don't go around just, using their powers willy-nilly and just killing people. That's against their code. They have a code. The angels, they had one. And, the demons are much more organized. They didn't split up like heaven did, following different people. They all just followed the king of hell. That's what they did. The angels are more rebellious. And that's caused a lot more problems. So the angels go around killing a bunch of people, genocide with Cass, trying to come into power. The demons, they didn't even get that bad. So if Lucifer's creations have behaved better and acted better and made better decisions, not just in following the leader, but when it came time to make their own decisions, they still acted better than many angels have. Which I guess you can say says something about God and Lucifer and their, how they are. So, I mean, in real life, if you did follow this one person, you worship a person or a being, if you worship a being and just follow everything they're saying, it's not a good idea, clearly. And sometimes you do need to follow orders. When the demons follow orders, everything's ordered and things go smoothly. When you start, asking questions all the time, things can get a little chaotic. But then again, you can't just blindly follow orders. Sometimes you need to find someone you trust and let them take charge during certain situations. But you can't let them direct your life. So, like with John, Dean would follow orders. Sometimes, and Sam just wouldn't. So that, that showed both sides of it, both extremes of following orders and just disobeying orders. Sometimes you have to think for yourself, and not just always be trying to disobey and ask questions. Sometimes you gotta listen to the leader who has a plan. That leader can't just come in and be a dictator. But sometimes it is necessary to listen to a leader to get stuff done. When there's something as big as, trying to take down Azazel, you can't just have everyone working on their own. You need teamwork. And when you're working as a team, you do have to listen to each other. And you do have to listen to a leader who's organizing everything. Now, Dean shouldn't always just, follow orders blindly. He does know how to work as a team player when he's not being a leader. He knows how to follow orders and work as a team that way. And in real life, you can't just follow one person blindly. You have to use logic and reason, listen to yourself, listen to other people. I don't mean obey. I mean listen. Look and see what they did right and what they did wrong, and you can learn from that. Now you can learn what Sam did wrong when he wouldn't work as a team. You can learn what the angels did wrong when they refused to work as a team. You can learn, the good and the bad about following orders, the good and the bad about questioning and not following them, when to do it, when not to. You can learn, a lot of things from the mistakes. And in real life too, of course. I'm talking about supernatural right here, morality, supernatural. Cass learned from his mistakes. You can learn from your own mistakes too, even if you've done something really bad, like what Cass did. You can still do good in the world. What's done is done. You don't have to be a bad guy for the rest of your life. You can start doing good, and you will make a difference. Don't worry about how the good stacks up against the bad when it comes to you, because there is no judgment day. There is no judging or anything. There's just life how it is now. So, if you've done bad, it's done. You can't change it. You can try to fix the damages if that's an option. If not, then what you can do is do good. Because good's not going to be cancelled out by the bad. That's not how it works. You can still help someone. If a bad person or someone who's done a lot of bad helps someone, doesn't mean they're not helped. You feed someone who's hungry, you still help them. No matter what your past was, it still helps just the same. So it's still important to, move on from the past. Of course, if you make a mistake, you should try to, fix whatever it was, solve any harm that was done, help repay any people that you harmed, make up for it somehow. You can always ask about how to do that, because when you're making it up to someone, it's what they say that matters. It's your opinion that counts. And that's an important thing. You can learn that from Cass. He did move on, and he did good. So that's important. You can learn that from Cass. But I think the main thing is that there isn't one person who's perfectly good. There's an idea that some people have that there's a force that represents good, a force that represents evil. It's not true, though. There is no good and evil. There are people who do harmful things, and there are people who do helpful things, but everyone has a bit of both. Everyone has done both. The point isn't to follow good or to try to find good and follow that, because there is no one person or one book or one video that you can follow, and if you follow it perfectly, then you'll be perfectly good. Because that's not how it is. There is no one book that's all good. There is no one person that's all good. There are people who claim to be good. The angels, they claim to be good. The character of God is usually seen as good by many, when he clearly is not. Some people who are huge fans of Castiel will say he's good. He's not. He's both. Everyone in Supernatural, everyone has been both. So you can't follow one character and think that they're perfect, because none of them are. Some people like Sam, still have to admit he has flaws. Some people like Dean, he has flaws too. And in the real world, that's how it is too. You might love someone, no matter how much you love them, admire them, no matter how much you think, they're your role model, or that they're awesome and great. They all have flaws, and you can't follow any one person. You can't just copy one person and get all your ideas from one person, and all your morality from one person. It doesn't work like that. There is no one character, one being, one person that's all good. Even the best of people make mistakes. It's important to know, especially with, people like Misha Collins. He's so awesome and so great. It's important to understand that no one's perfect. And you can say he's great, you can say he's awesome, and it's true. But, don't push perfect on him. Don't push perfect on anyone. And don't claim they're all good and that they can't be perfect, but they're still good. It's not true either. You're gonna have to think for yourself. You're gonna have to question things. You're gonna have to make decisions. You're gonna have to break away. eventually, like Castiel did, he was following orders blindly. Sometimes he has to interpret what his orders were, but he'd always try to follow the orders, and that didn't work. And maybe he was punished for questioning things and for not doing what he was told, but he was doing bad things because he was told to do bad things at times. If someone's telling you to do bad things, don't just say, "Oh, it's from heaven. It's from up high. Orders are from up high. I have to do it." That's when people do some really bad stuff. Don't do that. Don't be like the angels who are doing bad things because they're told. Because it comes from up high, from a higher power. Don't be like the people who, are homophobic because they think a higher power is deciding what's right and what's wrong. Don't be like that. Don't blindly follow anyone. Don't let yourself be deceived. Think someone's perfect, no matter how much you love them, no matter how much you admire them, no matter how much you look up to them, because no one is perfect. And you shouldn't follow anyone blindly. There's a lot you can learn from Supernatural. You can analyze the characters. Just know you can never get a definite answer. You can never, someone's good, someone's bad. It's never going to be that simple. It's always going to be very complex. Even their motives, their intentions, all those are still very complex. And, that's how it is in real life. So, good job to the people who make Supernatural happen, because more people need to know that things aren't always very black and white. And that was addressed, actually. That was addressed earlier on in Supernatural. Season 2, I believe. When Sam and Dean were little. But I think it was first addressed in Season 2 of Supernatural, earlier in Season 2, about, questioning what they're doing. They're not just going out and killing something because of how it is. They're not just, doing that. They have to make sure that the things they're killing, they're helping people by doing that they're saving people. And they were so used to just, kill the vampires that they didn't stop to think, why kill the vampires? Why kill this vampire in particular? Let's see what the vampire is doing, and what they're doing is wrong. I'm not saying what they were doing wasn't wrong. I'm just saying in the show where, it's wrong to kill humans, but not other animals. Given that is moral, given that is like their code, given that, then yeah, vampires were alright. So. And what they always believed about, just kill a monster, that wasn't true. I mean, it wasn't right. And, it's hard to question things, especially, Dean, he was so used to believing in his dad, just admiring him, looking up to him, trying to be like him. He didn't want to, let go of that. He didn't want to admit that his previous ideas were wrong, and Sam helped him realize that, you have to actually think about what you're doing. You can't someone else told you. You have to. You have to ask questions. And then you're gonna have to answer those questions. You're gonna have to find the right answer. And that might take some time. It might take some pondering, might take some research. Because eventually you're gonna have to make a decision about what's right and what's wrong. Turns out they shouldn't have been killing the vampires. That's those specific vampires who weren't killing any humans. And it's the same thing in real life. You can't follow one book, one idea, one person. You might be used to it, you might be afraid to go against it. Doesn't matter. You might be doing something wrong and you want to try to fix it up. You can learn that from Supernatural. You know, sometimes you have to question what you thought was right. And actually ask yourself, why are we killing these vampires? Why do we think these vampires are bad? Because they're sucking people's blood? Well, what if not all of them are sucking blood? Yeah. You know, an example of this is incest. People automatically think it's wrong all the time. And, you know, when you ask why, they might give you some reasons. And then if you say, well, what if that isn't a problem anymore? Then is it still wrong? If you end up saying the vampires still ought to be killed because they're vampires, even if they ain't sucking human blood, you're kind of wrong. You have to say, well, why are we slaying vampires? Because they're killing people. These vampires aren't killing people, leave them alone. Okay, same thing with incest. You think it's wrong because you think the baby did come out deformed or whatever. You think it's gross or whatever. There's whatever it is. Think about it. You know, who are they hurting? It's two consensual adults. You think of it like Sam thought about the vampires. You know, try to keep an open mind. There's a lot of mistakes that were made in Supernatural. A lot of times people went behind each other's backs, especially Sam and Dean, because they thought they were doing the right thing and they weren't. You can learn a lot from that. If you haven't learned it from someone else already. And, you know, the characters aren't always right. You can't always learn stuff from someone, but if you're looking to learn something, sure, go ahead, watch Supernatural and see what you can learn from it. See what examples you can take. Because it's been going for 10 seasons. Season 11's coming out soon. It's like around 22 episodes per season, an hour long each. There's a lot of stuff there. And there's a lot of questions. And it's important to think about those questions. Because you might not have to make the answers for Sam and Dean, but you will have to get the answers to similar questions at some point in life. And it's good to think about those things. It's good to be trained to think about those things. You know what happens when you're not trained to think about those things? You know what happened to Cass? He was just following orders. He wasn't used to thinking about things, and he ended up doing some bad stuff because he didn't know how to answer those questions about what's right and what's wrong, about what to do. So it's important to ask questions and answer questions as practice. You don't want to end up like Cass, starting a lot of people, killing people. That's a bit extreme, but you know, supernatural is a bit extreme compared to real life. There's a lot of bad stuff happening. And there is genocide in real life. And for the smaller issues, it's so good to think about those things. So you know how to think about those questions. How to answer the question, should I kill this vampire or not? Because once you've thought about it, next time you have a similar question, should I kill this werewolf? You know how to ask yourself, why is this right? Why is this wrong? You should always ask yourself, why do I think that way? Why do I think this is right? Why do I think this is wrong? And if your answer is ever because so-and-so said so, or because this says so, or because it feels that way, or because I think that's my personal opinion, it's my belief, those are never answers. Those are never answers, That's what you do when you're doing the wrong thing, and you end up not telling your brother why you're doing it, and you end up lying to him, and you end up, swallowing a bunch of souls, and turning into an animal. Supernatural show. And there's a lot you can take from it. Or you can not take a lot from it. It's up to you. But a lot of people who are really into it need it in their lives. Well, not need it, but they're looking for a lot of stuff and they want something in their lives to hold on to, and they're using supernatural. It's good to think about it. It's good to use it to think about it. If you're going to be thinking about supernatural, it's good to think about what the characters are doing and what it means. And I just can't fall asleep